Welcome to Gurudev, dear students. And today onwards, we are going to discuss the previous year questions, IAS, previous year questions from 2015 onwards, okay? And part wise, every day we'll discuss the previous year questions, right? Topic wise, as well as the theme wise and the concept wise. From today onwards, okay? Myself, Amresh Rathod. Yes, let's start the question. And this is for the 2015 UPSC pre-question, okay? 2015 pre-question, right? What is the question? When the Reserve Bank of India reduces the statutory liquidity ratio, okay? Statutory liquidity ratio, that is SLR, by basis points, 50 basis points, which of the following is likely to happen? Okay, the question is very clear. When RBI reduces the SLR, okay, reduces the SLR, okay, and what will be happen in the economy or in the market? So that is what the question asked in the previous year in 2015 UPSC prelims, okay, and these are the four options here, okay, and the first option is India's GDP growth rate increases drastically. India's GDP growth rate increases drastically. And second option, it is the FII, that is foreign institutional investors may bring more capital into our country. And third, that is scheduled commercial banks may cut their lending rates. And fourth one, it may drastically reduces the liquidity to banking system. So these are the options, okay, and the answer will be, okay. Let's discuss first, then I'll tell you the answer, okay. First, when the RBI reduces the SLR, that is the reserve, okay, money, right, SLR. When RBI reduces the SLR, what will happen, right? See, when RBI reduces the SLR, this is what the SLR, okay, RBI. When RBI reduces SLR, right, at the same time, the money flow will increases in the commercial banks. Money flow will increase in the commercial banks. Why? Why? Because the SLR, the whatever the money as prescribed by, or whatever the money decided by the RBI, and the bank should keep themselves, okay, and that money, that reserve money, is known as the SLR, okay, and the SLR will goes down, or SLR will cut down, or SLR will reduced by the RBI. At the same time, the money flow in the commercial bank will increases. At the same time, commercial banks cut down their interest rates. Why? Because the money flow will increases in the commercial banks. When the money flow will increases in the commercial banks, okay, at the same time, commercial banks, they reduces or they cut down their interest rate or their lending rates, okay. So automatically, when commercial banks reduces their interest rates, okay, eventually at the same time, customers, they borrows more money from the commercial banks. This is what happens in the market, or this is what happens in the economy when the RBI reduces the SLR, okay. This is what the SLR, okay. X. Now see the options. India's GDP growth rate increases drastically. Is this true? No. India's GDP rate may increase, but not drastically, but gradually, slowly, okay, slowly can increase, but the term drastically. So because of the term drastically, India's GDP growth rate may increase, may increase slowly, but not drastically, That's why the first option is wrong. Next one, the FII, that is foreign institutional investment. Foreign institutional investment, okay? FII, that is foreign institutional investors, they invest the money into the Indian economy or Indian market, okay? May bring more capital into our country, may bring more capital, and the SLR is not really going to be affect the positive or in the negative sense for the FII. So that's why the second statement also wrong. The third one, okay, the scheduled commercial banks may cut their lending rates. So now you can see the answer in this, the process, okay. Scheduled commercial banks may cut their lending rates. See here, the commercial banks may cut their lending rates. This is what the answer, right? So third one, okay, the scheduled commercial banks may cut their lending rates when the RBI reduces the SLR. So this is what the answer, okay. There is no need to study or need to read the next option or need to understand the next option, okay. It may drastically, again there is a word called drastically, again wrong, drastically reduce the liquidity into the banking system. Yes, is this true? No, not at all. See, it increases the money flow in the commercial banks. What is the fourth option? The fourth option is very simple. What they are telling, that it may drastically reduce the liquidity into the banking system. No, not at all. Why? Because when the RBI decreases the SLR, at the same time, okay, the money flow will increase in the banking system. So this is how we are going to study, right? This is how we are going to deal with the previous year questions, and we may get the concept and the theme, right? So this is what the first question regarding to the statutory liquidity ratio, and right now present as of now, okay, the 18% is the SLR, okay, SLR is 18%, okay, yes, increase the inflation, okay, right, thank you. This is what the first question, okay. Next, move to the other question, right? Next question, right? With reference to the Indian economy, consider the following, okay. With reference to the Indian economy, consider the following. First one, the bank rate. Second one, the open market operations. Third one, it is a public debt and the public revenue, okay. And what is the question? Which of the above is or are the component or the components of the monetary policy? The component of the monetary policy. What they are asking? What is the question? There are 4 points given, okay, and they are asking the question, okay, the components of the monetary policy, okay. Which of the above are the components of the monetary policy? Okay. Thank you. It was a little bit disturbance because of the slow internet. Okay, thank you. Welcome back. Dear students, we are discussing just the monetary policy, about the monetary policy. Okay, and the monetary policy was established in the year 2016, right, as per the RBI's Act 1934, and it was a 6-member committee, and the chairperson, who is the governor of the RBI, okay, RBI governor, and the term of every member of this committee is 4 years, and they are not eligible for the next term. So this is what the monetary policy. And next point is very important. The tools of the monetary policy, right? Tools of monetary policy are the components, right? Are the tools of monetary policy, right? Yes. So this is what the monetary policy. And what was the question? Question is very simple. The components of the monetary policy. Okay, what questionnaire, examiner, he asked the question. The components are the component of the monetary policy, right? And we just studied about the monetary policy. And next point it is the tools of the monetary policy, right? First one, it is repo rate, then repo rate, okay, then reverse repo rate, reverse repo rate. Next, bank rate, then base rate, then marginal standing facility, okay, marginal standing facility, and SDF, okay, OMO, okay, then CRR, okay, and SLR, and etc. These are the quantitative tools. Right? Quantitative tools of the monetary policy. Right? These are the quantitative tools of RBI or the monetary policy. Right? These are the quantitative tools. Okay. Let's see the question. Okay. Let's see the question and tell me the answer. Okay. Yes. Now tell me what is your answer. Okay. With reference to the Indian economy, consider the following. Okay. The bank rate, open market operation, public debt, public revenue. Okay. What is your answer? Come on. Okay. Bank rate is there, right? And OMO is there. The option first one. Okay. First one is there. Second one, it is there. Okay. First and second. Option C is the right answer. Okay. Option C is the right answer. Right. Pradeep has given answer. Okay. Very good, Pradeep. Yes. Option 1 and 2. Right. So this is what the question and your answer. Right. The components of the monetary policy. This is how we are going to discuss the questions. That's very, very important. Not just reading the questions. Okay. Not just reading the questions. Okay. Likewise, so the what you call the way of solving the question is very, very important. Not just going to be read or just randomly just turning the pages. Okay. The thing is very important here. To the way of solution, the way of the question solving is very, very important. The next time the examiner, he may ask the question directly on, okay, see the monetary policy, he may ask the question, see, sorry, here comes the monetary policy. Directly, he may ask the question from the monetary policy, okay, you are able to answer the question. Otherwise, he may ask the question based on the components of the quantitative tools of RBI, quantitative tools, and the qualitative tools are there, but the qualitative tools are not that much of the energized or the important to control the economy or to control the inflation. Okay, that's why these quantitative tools are very, very important. Okay, for the economy. Next question. Okay, so this is very, very important question, right? Just see how we are going to be deal with the question. That's what you have to learn from us. Okay, question. Okay, which of the following brings out the consumer price index, that is CPI? Okay, consumer price index number for the industrial workers. Okay, industrial workers, CPI industrial workers. What is the question? The question is very simple. Okay, which of the following brings out the consumer price index number for the industrial workers? Okay, this is what the question, and this question is also asked in 2015 pre-examination, 2015 preliminary question. Okay, yes, which of the following brings, right? Okay, the question is very simple. CPI industrial workers, right? CPI industrial workers index is published by Reserve Bank or Department of Economic Affairs or the Labor Bureau and the Department of Personnel and the Training. Okay, there are 4 options, right? 4 options. Okay, can you comment? Okay, what is your answer? Yes. Okay. Sankho, he said that C, 100% right. C, 100% right. Okay. Yes. And Sadasi also said that. Okay, right. Very good. Very good. Answer is C. 100%. Your answer is right. Okay. C is right answer. And the CPI Industrial Worker Index, it is published by the Labor Bureau. Labor Bureau of Simla. Labor Bureau of Simla. Okay. Labor Bureau of Simla. So, the responsible authority or the department, okay, for the publishing the labor bureau, for the publishing the CPI Industrial Workers Index in the inflation, it is Labor Bureau. Okay, let's have a brief, okay, about the CPI, right? What is CPI? CPI, okay, it is a standard measure or the measure of inflation in India or the key measure of inflation in India. CPI, it is called as the key measure. It is the key measure of inflation in India. Okay, right now the CPI is the key measure, which means okay, the inflation indicator, it is the CPI. Okay, CPI. Let's discuss about the CPI. What is CPI? It's a inflation indicator, right? Inflation indicator, right? What is inflation? It's a general price rise of goods and services in the market. What is inflation? Come on. What is inflation? Inflation is just the price rise of goods and services in the market. The price rise of goods and services in the market is known as the inflation. Okay, and the CPI, it is the indicator of the inflation in the economy. CPI is the indicator of the inflation in the economy. Okay, both CPI as well as the WPI. Okay, yes. Now discuss about the CPI. Okay, very small idea about the Okay, about CPI. CPI, it is now the key measure inflation in India. It is a key major inflation in India, right? CPI, actually it is not a single index. Okay, CPI, which includes the many other components. So based on the various socio-economic, right, the socio-economic conditions of the customers, conditions of the customers, right? So based on the socio-economic condition of the customers, and the CPI, it is divided into again various types. Okay, CPI rural labor, CPI agriculture labor, CPI industrial labor or industrial worker, and CPI rural plus urban, that is the composite. These are some components or the types of CPI, right? The rural labors, agriculture labors, industrial labors or industrial workers, and the rural and the urban. CPI, actually it is not a single index, CPI, it has other or various types, okay, in which the rural and agriculture and the industrial labor index or inflation, it is calculated by Labor Bureau of India, under the Ministry of Labor and Employment. under the Ministry of Labor and Employment, under the Ministry of Labor and Employment, the Labor Bureau publishes the inflation index of the rural labor and the agriculture labor and the industrial labors or industrial workers. What about the rural and urban? That is composite, the composite CPI, okay, composite, the composite CPI, right? The composite CPI, rural and urban, okay. And this index, it is published by, this index is published by, it's very important, that's very important, NSO, it is published by NSO, that is National Statistical Office. And earlier it was actually CSO, earlier it was CSO, okay, earlier it was CSO. Before 2019, okay, 2019 onwards, the NSO was emerged, okay, with the collaboration of both CSO plus NSSO, the merger of both the CSO, the Central Statistical Office, and the National Sample Survey Organization, okay, merging both institutions or the organization in 2019, and the new office or the department was emerged, that is the NSO, that is National Statistical Office. And now the NSO is the responsible authority to publish the index of the CPIC, that is composite, okay. And this is what the CPI, and present CPIs, present CPIs, okay, base year, it is the base year for the CPI, the base year, it is 2012, it is the base year, 2012 it is the base year for the CPI, right, 2012 it is the base year, right. And CPI, that's very important, which includes the both goods and services, CPI which includes the both goods and services, not only the goods, but with respect to the WPI which includes the only goods, but not the CPI which includes the both goods and services, okay, yes. And CPI which calculates the monthly basis, okay, which calculates the monthly basis, which includes the goods and services both, and its base year, it is 2012, okay. This is what the CPI. And the government of India just fixed the inflation rate for the 2021 to 2025. The inflation, okay, target. The inflation target was set by the government of India for the term 2021 to 2025. It is 4%, okay, plus or minus, it is 2%, plus or minus 2%. This is what actually the target of the government of India, okay, for the inflation for the term 2021 to 2025. So this is what the CPI and your question, and this is what the explanation, okay. And my question is very clear, okay. When examiner he asks the question, okay, he will never ask the new questions every time. He will ask the questions based on the previous year questions, okay, right. So this way you people have to know the idea and the concept of the inflation, questions, right. Sometimes they may ask the question depend upon the CPI. Now they ask the question about the industrial worker or industrial labor. Next time they may ask question based on the agriculture labor, or again the rural labor, or the composite one, CPIC, okay, CPIC. And this time they asked about the labor bureau, okay. There may be chance for further, okay. Next time they will ask question about the ministry, okay. And the labor bureau, which is the responsible for the publishing the industrial workers inflation in India in CPI, and this department which comes under which one of the following ministry? So the ministry is Ministry of Labor and Employment. That is the Ministry of Labor and Employment. employment. Okay, so this is what the question and the solution, right? Next, move on to the next question. Before we are going to that question, kindly just understand my words. I'll tell you again and again. One thing, please just learn how to solve the question and how to learn from the past year questions. That's very, very important. Just not go through the pages and just turning the pages and mug upping the question and answer directly. Okay, already the competitive exams are started in 1970s, and now it is more than 50 years. Okay, we don't have the syllabus or that much of syllabus. The examiner he has to ask the question based on only the same syllabus, you know. So that's why the thing is very, very clear here, how to understand how to solve the question or the previous year questions. The previous year questions are the actually Bhagavad Gita to the competitive exam aspirants, right? The next question. Okay, with reference to the India, okay, inflation in India, which of the following statement is correct? Again, there is a question regarding the inflation. Okay, as you studied earlier. Okay, as you solved the question earlier. Again, the question regarding the inflation. Okay, regarding again inflation. What is the question? With reference to the inflation in India, okay, which of the following statements is or are correct? Okay, regarding the inflation, right? And the statements are there. Controlling the inflation in India is the responsibility of the government of India only. See the term only. Whenever you will come across the term, only, okay, and but, and also. So this kind of terms, whenever you come across the terms in the questions, okay, you have to think once again. Okay, there was something. Okay, the only, and questioner or the examiner, he says that the controlling the inflation in India is the responsibility of the government of India only. Is that true? Okay, absolutely wrong. The only, whenever you come across the term only, you have to careful. Okay, the first option is wrong. Why? Because the government only. No, it is not a duty of government to control the inflation in the economy alone. Okay, the term only, the term alone is not. Okay, what about the second statement? The Reserve Bank of India has no rule. See, the one more word you have to write, please. The no rule or no. See the term how the examiner is going to be using the question. Okay, the RBI has no rule in the controlling the inflation. Is this true? No. Okay, RBI is the authority in India to control the inflation. RBI is the authority to control the inflation in India. So, absolutely wrong. What about third one? Decreased money circulation helps in controlling the inflation. Okay, decrease the money supply or money circulation in the economy. The decrease the money supply or the money circulation helps in controlling the inflation. Okay, let's see the previous slide. Okay, there was a slide. See where it is first. It's regarding to the SLR. Okay, sorry, earlier question. What is inflation? So this is what the inflation. What is inflation? The price rise of goods and service in the market. And see the same year question, 2015 year or 2015 previous year question. It is a previous 2015 IAS preliminary question. Okay, the same question. What he asked here? Decrease the money circulation helps in the controlling the inflation. No. What is inflation? First understand the inflation. See, the increase of the prices, the general price rise of goods and services in the market. The general price rise of goods and services in the market. Okay, the general price rise of the goods and services in the market. It is known as the inflation. But what examiner says that, okay, the decreased money circulation helps in the controlling the inflation. Okay, of course, decrease, if the decreasing money supply, decreasing the money supply or money flow will helps to control the inflation, will helps to control the inflation in the economy, right? When the prices of goods and services are increases in the market, what it shows? It shows that there is an inflation. There is an inflation in the market. Okay. Whenever you people will come across the price rise, and you should have to understand that there is an inflation in the market. There is an inflation in the market. There is an inflation in the market. Okay. Right. When the prices of goods and services are increases in the market, there must be a money flow or rise in the money flow. But in this statement, what he says that the decrease in money circulation helps to control the inflation. Obviously, this one, so this is a right. Decrease in money supply or the circulation, it helps in the controlling the inflation in the economy. Obviously, right? Okay, yes. So there is no need to read the further option, but you have to read this. Increase in money circulation helps in the controlling the inflation. Is this true? Can you please comment? Can you please comment? Anybody? Is this true? The increased money circulation helps to controlling the inflation. The increased, see, this is increased and this is decreased. Okay? No, not at all. The increasing the money supply, it leads to the increase of inflation in the economy. Right? So this is what the inflation. Okay? We have to understand very, very carefully. Okay? Yes, no. Sadashiva says no. Very good, very good. Okay? Yes, 100%. So this is what the inflation. Okay? This is what the inflation. We have to understand one diagram. See, what is inflation? What is inflation? Okay? Inflation is very simple. You just understand this diagram and you will get the idea. Okay? This is very, very important. The prices of goods and services, whenever the prices of goods and services are increases in the market, okay, whenever the goods and service prices are increases in the market, at the same time, the money flow will increases. The money flow will increases in the market. The money flow will increase in the market. Why? Why the money flow will increase in the market? The simple thing is, in the general situation, okay, you will get onion 1 kilogram of onion just for 20 or 30 rupees. Okay, this is what the general period or general term. But whenever there is an inflation in the market, you can't get the 1 kilogram of onion just 20 or 30 rupees. Okay, it will increase up to 80 or 100 rupees. So obviously, instead of the 20 and 30, the market accumulates the 80 and 100 rupees. Okay, that's why whenever the inflation occurs in the market, so what is the price rise of goods and service? That is inflation. Whenever the inflation occurs in the market, at the same time, the money flow will increases in the market. At the same time, the money value will decreases. The money value will decrease in the market. The money value will decreases. The money value will decrease in the market. Okay. At the same time, the purchasing power the purchasing power of money will decrease. The purchasing power of money, it goes down. Obviously, okay, the purchasing power of money will goes down. See, when it was in general situation, people they can buy the onion or any other goods in common prices, okay, 20, 30, 40 rupees. But in case of the inflation, you can't buy the same good in the same price, same money. It is not possible. Okay, so that's why your money will lost its what we call the power, the purchasing power. Okay, very good, very good. See, the purchasing power will goes down. Okay, at the same time, the purchasing power of the customers, okay, the purchasing power of customer also goes down. The customer demand will goes down. Okay, there must demand, but demand will goes down. Okay, think about it. One is a customer. For example, one who gets the every week he purchases the 1 kilogram onion in the general situation, but he can't get 1 kilogram of onion in the inflation situation. He can buy 1/4 or 1/2. What's that? That is 250 gram or 500 gram. That is half kilo. Okay, that much he can get. Why? Because there is an increase in the what? Money or the prices or the rates. So this is what actually happens whenever the inflation occurs in the market. At the same time, goods and services, the value of goods and services, the value of goods and service, the value of goods and service, the value of goods and service will increase us. So this is what happens in the market whenever the inflation occurs in the market. So this is you have to learn. So next time the examiner, the questioner, he may ask the based on this kind of the process when the inflation occurs in the market. Okay, right? Yes, very good, very good. Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. And we'll move to the next question. Okay, this is what about the inflation. There are two questions in 2015 regarding the inflation, right? And one more question. Okay, again in 2015, see there are number of questions from the macroeconomics only. Okay, the ratio macro and micro, it is 80-20, and this falls under the macroeconomics. What is the question? Next question. Okay, there has been persistent deficit budget year after year. The question is very simple. There has been a persistent deficit budget year after year. Okay, year after year. And regarding this, what is that? The deficit budget. Okay, year after year, there has been a persistent, okay, the continuously, right? Which of the following actions can be taken? Which of the following actions can be taken by the government of India or the government to reduce the deficit? To reduce the deficit. Just first understand what is the deficit budget. As you people know that very well, the budget. What is budget? Okay. Okay. What is the deficit? Deficit is nothing but the expenditure exceeds the income. Okay, expenditure exceeds the income. Okay, wherever the expenditure it is always higher than the income, or expenditures are higher than the receipts, and this is known as the deficit. Okay. Right, and one more meaning of the deficit is that, okay, the government expenditure, the government expenditure is higher than the government income or government receipts. Government expenditures are higher than the government receipts. So this is what shows that the deficit. Okay, deficit. What is deficit? Deficit is very simple. Where the situation the expenditure exceeds the revenue or the income, and that situation is known as the deficit, right? Deficit. And the question is regarding the deficit, the budget deficit. Okay. What was the question? The question is very simple. The persistence continuously, the deficit budget year after year, which means that every year the budget is presented in deficit, only deficit, only deficit. Okay, if government wants to reduce or to cut down or to eliminate, it's not easy to eliminate, or government wants to reduce the deficit, what steps should be taken by the government? These are the options. Okay, the first option, reducing the revenue expenditure, reducing the revenue expenditure. See, first we have to understand what is the revenue expenditure, right? Revenue expenditure where government wants to spend the money for just to meet its short-term needs or short-term goals. Short-term needs or short-term goals. Okay, what is the revenue expenditure? Revenue expenditure is nothing but where the government wants to meet its short-term needs. Short-term needs. For example, the welfare programs like in Karnataka, the Bhagyas. Okay, there's so many Bhagyas, right? Government wants to meet, and the thing is that when government spends the money for the revenue expenditure, the revenue generation is there is no revenue generation. Okay, the revenue generation is not going to be created by the government. Revenue is not going to be created. That's what the revenue expenditure. Okay, first point. What is your opinion about this statement? Can government reduce this one? Come on, please comment. Government can reduce this one. The first option, please comment it. If the government cut down or reduces the first one, that is a revenue expenditure or a revenue spending, okay, is this the instrument to reduce the budget deficit? Okay, comment it please. Yes or no? Yes or no? Tell me. If it is yes, then the type is okay, very good. Sadashiv said that yes, 100%. Okay, Sadashiv said yes. Okay, why? No, what others? Okay, no problem. Chalo, theek hai. Then introducing the new welfare scheme. Gayatri also said yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, see, and the second one, introducing the new welfare scheme, is this reduces the deficit? No, it is again burden to the government. It is again burden to the government. Introducing, what he says that the introducing, the term you should have to understand the term, the focus only on the terms. Earlier I said that the only, but, alone, also, although, the words whenever come across you people, you should have to focus on those words only. The introducing, okay, focus on this word. What's that? Introducing the new welfare scheme. Government introduced the new scheme, and government have to spend more money. Government has to spend more money. Government has to spend more money. Okay, there is no reduction in the deficit, right? That's why second option is wrong. Okay, yes, second option is wrong. What about the rationalizing the subsidies, which means the cut down? Okay, subsidies are also the burden to the government. That's why the rationalizing or to cut down or the rationalizing the subsidies, that's right. Okay, first statement right, third statement also right. What about the fourth one? Okay, fourth one, what about the fourth one? Come on, expanding the industries. Okay, if government wants to expand the industries, there must be again the burden. Okay, So burden will increases. So burden will increases. The deficit will again goes up. So that's why. What's your answer? Come on. Now tell me your answer. Please comment. Good evening. Good evening. Ravi. Good evening. Come on. Yes. What's your answer? Only 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1 only, and all of the above. What is your answer? Right? What is your answer? A. Sadashiva says A. Okay, fine. Then okay. Yes, very, very good. Very good. Right? Gayatri says A. Okay. Thank you. Okay. And once again, and after every question, I'll tell you one thing. Please know the thing how to solve the question, not how to read the question. The reading the question is totally different from the solving. Okay, the question solving is very, very unique idea. If you people will solve technically the question, and you will get 80% of your syllabus. Okay, that's what actually the question paper, previous year question paper. Right, next question. Right, fair and remunerative price, that is FRP. Again 2015 previous year question paper, 2015 IAS question. Right, one more question. FRP, the fair and remunerative price of the sugarcane is provided by. The fair and the remunerative price of the sugarcane is provided by. There's a direct question, right, asked in 2015 pre, okay, from the economy. Let's see what is the answer. Okay, before we are going to answer this question, we'll see something about the prices. Okay, I think have you heard the term called MSP? MSP, right? MSP. What is MSP? The minimum support price. What is MSP? This is minimum support price. Minimum support price. What is MSP? Minimum support price. Right? Minimum support price is very, very important. And this minimum support price is related to the other than the sugarcane. Okay, right? Other than the sugarcane. Right? But the thing is that MSP, which is decided by the CSCP, the Commission for Agriculture Cost and Price, the same committee recommends the FRP, and the FRP, it is approved by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Okay, once again I will repeat. See, MSP, that is minimum support price, which is decided by the CSCP, and sugarcane is not included in the MSP. Sugarcane, it is not included in the MSP. Okay, we'll discuss later. But the MSP, which is decided by the CSCP, MSP, which is decided by the CSCP, and the same committee or the same commission, that is CSCP decides the FRP, but based on the CSCP's recommendations, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approves the FRP. Okay, now we move into the question. Now tell me, what's your answer? Come on. I want to answer from your side. Please, go ahead. Now read the question carefully once again. Tell me the answer. Okay. Yes. The fair and remunerative price, that is FRP of the sugarcane, is approved by the which one of the following committee or the commission or any other department or organization? Okay. Yes. Come on. What is your answer? Is this option B, option C, option D, or option A? What is your answer? Okay. Yes. And as we discussed earlier in this discussion, okay, and discussion is very clear that clearly says that, okay, the FRP which is recommended by the CSCP, but it is approved by the come on, it is approved by the CCEA, which means the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Okay, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Okay. Yes, this is what the answer. Okay, Cabinet Committee on the Economic Affairs. Okay, and thank you so much, dear students. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay, and we'll continue the session and we'll discuss the continually till 2025 pre-questions. Okay, thank you so much.